Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Frankie's Open Mic. I'm your host, Haley Overset, the Frankie's Podcast Network, here with my co-host, Alicia Maximo of Venora. Hello.
Hello. Hello again.
And we are excited today to have Dean Stanzel of Top of Mind Gifts and Strategic 3D Cards. He has some of the most fun pop-up business cards you have ever seen in your life. And we're so excited to talk to you. Hello, Dean, and welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me, and I'm excited too.
We're thrilled to have you here. So tell us, first of all, about your businesses, Top of Mind Gifts, and the awesome pop-up 3D business cards that you do. Just give the audience a nice rundown of what it is you do.
Yeah, I'll kind of do my 5-minute bio. First
I
of
love
all,
it.
I'm an engineer, an engineering physicist, actually. And
Hmm.
yeah, you wouldn't go for that. But I was recruited way back when, like probably a number of people, like you were saying, Alicia, with vector marketing. Hey,
Mhm.
come check it out, sell some knives, cut some stuff in the interview. It was pretty cool. And so my career path kind of got diverted. I went into sales, did really well, ran an office, a district, and so on. Moved my way up. And then towards the end of the 90s, that was in the mid 90s that I got my degree. Then I had an itch for financial services. So I left and I started my own financial services boutique brokerage. Ran that for 10 years. And then the big market crash '09 was kind of the icing on the cake for me of I don't want to be in the business of just holding people's hands, and you can't really beat the market. So I took some time off. My youngest child was born in '09, and I wanted to be home with him when he was preschool. So it took some time there. And then all of a sudden I found myself about 2016, 17, looking around going, somebody my age shouldn't be playing pickleball 3 days a week. And so,
Why not?
Nothing
I
wrong with
love that.
pickleball. We love pickleball.
I'm
oh,
for it. I agree.
just doing it. I started pickleball back in the day when it was still just old people. And so I was probably 30 years younger than everybody else there, and
Mhm.
still being beat by them, of
I
course.
I
But
bet they loved you, though.
oh yeah,
Right.
we had great fun. But 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, I was like a half-time pickleballer, and I was like, I've got to do something more than this because I can't be this old yet. But then
Appreciate that. Yeah, I get you.
yeah, it's changed. My dad got me into it. I laughed at him like probably most young people did. Pickleball, what's that? Ha ha. And I came out and I was like, oh, this is going to be a joke. And then had fun doing it, learned a lot, was humbled quite a bit initially, and then got hooked. And then I actually got my son into it a number of years ago. And we played together and we got into some tournaments and done really well. And he was about 10 or so when we started doing it. So barely seeing over the net. And now he's over 6 feet. So it's something we've
So I
carried
bet
on.
he's really good at it now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We were talking about the opportunities, and he's a big soccer player. And I said, well, if you look at the competition and the opportunities, you'd probably be better off trying to go pro in pickleball because
Mhm.
nowadays it's actually a potential. But
Right.
anyways, I digress. So,
I
um,
love this.
and then COVID hit, and my daughter, who's my middle daughter, who's in university, was just finishing up her third or fourth year. And she got recruited by Vector Marketing to sell knives. She's had Cutco her whole life, which is different than I'd started with, but she came home all excited, hey, guess what I'm going to do? Sell knives and stuff. And I kind of deflated, I think, took the wind out of her sails because I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I did. And she's like, so it was fun. And so she did that for a little bit and it did well. But it got me kind of thinking. I've always wanted to get back in touch with the management and the company just to see how things were. And I also was really curious as to how, by the way, for anybody that doesn't know, Cutco is really high-end knives. That probably would be a good preface. Um,
Mhm.
so I when I sold it, it was in your hand, cutting stuff, tangible, physical. And I could not fathom how you sold a tangible product like that over Zoom because
Yeah.
you can't do anything, right? And videos are video.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right.
But it turned out back in my day, gee, I sound old. Back in my day, you'd book two, maybe three appointments and be happy if one of them, if two of them still stuck and you only got canceled on once and you were driving all over. And they said, yeah, sales may not be as high on average, but they said nowadays, people can do 5 or 10 appointments a day instead of three. And
Mhm.
that makes sense. So yeah, scales, and they've had some of their best years ever. So that was an interesting discussion. And then it kind of changed over to what are you doing? And this is where the pickleball, I got to do something more than that came in. And I said, actually, I'm kind of looking, I haven't decided. I'm looking around, seeing what I want to do. And they brought up the B2B or the business side of the Cutco.
Mhm.
And it loved it before. And they said, well, we've got this program that's, we don't have anybody in your area. And instead of selling B to C in home, it's B to B. And not in the context of you're trying to sell businesses knives, but in the context of businesses are always looking for something unique. They're looking for gifts that are creative, something to stand out. And then some of the basic marketing stats, they're looking for something that's going to last, it's going to have perceived value, long-term ROI. And Cutco fit into that really well. So they had established a program about a decade before. And again, nobody here. And I was like, oh, this kind of sounds interesting. And then I did that slippery slope of sounds interesting, maybe casual, part-time, full-time within 6 months. But on my
Kind of
own
like the
terms.
pickleball. You started as a casual player and then it just got way
Right.
out of hand in the best kind of way.
Exactly.
It like blew up from there.
Yeah. And so I dove into that side. It kind of started out with the real estate. Realtors always give closing gifts and things like that. So that was
Mhm.
where the business model had come from. But it was expanding into broader, business in general, because really I guess the application is the same. And personally, I think that the business, I guess, environment worldwide, or at least North America wide, has kind of been about a 40 or 50-year cycle. So quite out there. But if you think back to the 60s and 70s, business was let's shake hands, no contracts. I trust you. We're going to do a deal. And then technology started to creep in the 80s, the internet, emails, and then all of a sudden the explosion of social media. And what was looking back, what was an opportunity to get more information, to be more independent over the last, leading up to the last decade became too much information. Yeah, I can get some information, but now there's so much information. I don't even know what's true. I can't decipher, sift through it all. So it's
Mhm.
funny that 40 to 50 years later, we're coming back around to, hey, do you know anybody I can trust? It's kind of full circle on that side. And that works very well with gifts, showing appreciation, building relationships, saying thank you, all those kind of things, fundamentals that are probably now more important than they have been in a long time. And yeah, that brings us up kind of to the present.
Nice.
I love it. That's like, I love the journey that you have.
Mhm.
And thank you for being willing to share that because I love the fun little anecdotes in there. I do.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I do want to ask you about, so you also do the pop-up business cards, right?
Yes.
So like
Yeah.
how did you how do you
Well,
kind of balance both of those things? Like obviously top of mind gifts is the big full-time what what you
it-
really kind of delved into in just in recent years here, but the pop-up business cards, how did you start doing that? And can you give us a little insight on like how crazy difficult is it to make those, or is it not crazy difficult to make them? Because you've got some ones that are pretty intricate and wild.
Yeah. And also, I love how it's very personalized where,
Mhm.
Haley and I are really all about the human connection and all the information in the world, AI technology. We love to communicate through the human experience. So
yeah.
I love the fact that like it comes back full circle where people are reaching out to you like, who can I trust, Dean? Who can I reach out to? Because there's a lot of misinformation out there. I just wanted to point that out. And I love how
Mhm.
personalized that the gifts that you are creating marketing, are giving people the experience to keep that personalization either in a business professional type of relationship or even, as a colleague or a client. But yes, dive into Haley's question. I just wanted to point that out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the first thing when I started Top of Mind Gifts, it was along the lines of mainly using Cutco as the gifting. And
Mhm,
there's a number of great reasons, both from the gift standpoint and the logistics and scaling standpoint for that. But I wanted to have freedom to do other things if I wanted to as well. So that's where Top of Mind Gifts came from.
mhm,
Part of the uniqueness, like I'm not a promo company. I don't do pens or t-shirts or mugs or anything like that. I just focused on the Cutco and a couple of other products. And the great thing is that I don't really have a lot of competition. The bad thing is that because of that, not many people know about what I do, and it's not something you go out looking for. Hey, do you know a guy that engraves knives by chance? Well, that doesn't come up very often, right? So a big part of my business has been and will always continue to be networking. So going out,
mhm.
meeting people, being part of
Of
networking
course.
organizations.
Huge.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
one of the really exciting things for me in the business is what was predominantly a local business with COVID became an international business because I don't stock product. I don't do anything. I don't do anything. No, don't do anything physically. Um, I facilitate, if you will. I have contracts in place, but I don't touch anything. So I can work with somebody in Florida as easily as I can work with somebody next door to me.
Mhm,
So networking and the ability to the normalization of Zoom for business was huge and to change the trajectory of the business. And so now I can work anywhere in North America, pretty much the same drop shipping, delivery, same kind of services. And
mhm,
part of that growth is networking. So here's where the cards come in. I've been part of a number of different groups. People have heard of BNI, maybe H7, Connector, probably half a dozen that I've gone to, a couple of them even in Europe, which is neat. But I have done a lot of getting around, probably do 5 networking meetings per week and in
mm,
different sectors, different geographies, different methods or topics. And in doing that, I meet a lot of people and I do a bunch of one-to-ones. And one of the people I met in one of the groups, we were talking about gifting and Cutco. And like a lot of people, oh yeah, I remember I had a presentation or whatever. And he said, so you're in gifts with Cutco. I think I know a guy that actually does these pop-up cards, but he did a Cutco knife. And I said, that's kind of cool. I got to see this. So he made an introduction, like a lot of referrals. And I met with the company, and sure enough, they had a pop-up card with a Cutco knife that pops up. And I was like, that's so cool because that's the ultimate for a knife salesperson is to give a thank you card with a knife that pops out. And then in doing that, I started to look at and see all of the stuff that's possible and that they've been doing. There's like over 400 different examples, unique ones, and learned a lot about it. And much like anything else, kind of dove down the rabbit hole and immersed myself in it to the point where I was like, this is really amazing. And it's something, again, from a business standpoint that nobody else is doing. There's pop-up cards, but nobody else will custom build the 3D model, which is what we focus on. And we focus on a B2B type of business as opposed to B2C. So I'd met this person who was, I think, a coach or maybe in the financial side of things. He introduced me to this other company. His wife actually had done some website work for the company, which is how he knew about them. And one of those fortuitous things that, one thing led to another, and then I added the card business. And it is a different and standalone business unto itself, but it's also very much in line with top of mind gifts. And I always tell people, I don't sell Cutco. I don't sell a product. Really, what I sell and what I want to give people is top of mind awareness. It's the ability to be remembered. It's the increase in referrals, and it's those kind of things. And the way to do that is by using long-term permanent, I can list off all the attributes, but I use Cutco to deliver what I really want to provide, which is the top of mind awareness. cards, the pop-up cards fit into that perfectly. So how do you stand out? What kind of things do you do to be different? How does it resonate with people? Do you leave an impression? And all of those things do. I'll show you a couple of them, or I'll show the audience a couple of them later.
Yeah, we would love to see.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know, tease you, maybe wait a little longer, hold out. But
So we have everybody stay tuned because you'll see some cool stuff. Don't leave.
absolutely,
Mhm.
stay tuned. So I came across that last year and quickly went from liking it as a product for myself to carrying it to being a promoter. Then I became the distributor for Canada. I'm in Canada, by the way. And then I'm working ever closer with the owner. I'm not sure if he's looking at maybe retiring or something, but I think we have different skill sets and expertise. So what he is doing with the cards and has been very creative, and you can see some of the stuff, but he hasn't really done much with the marketing, and that's my big forte. I was like, this is huge, it can go everywhere, and I've like
Mhm.
6 different major pet projects on the go. And so that developed, and now Strategic 3D Cards was born, and that's the company that I built up with a partner to really focus on that. It's a direct link and it's part of my top of mind gifts company, but I wanted it to be able to expand and grow independently as well, and bring in distributors and other things that don't have anything to do with the other part of the business. So that's where things are at now. And the cards here, we'll do a couple teasers here. The
Couple teasers. I love these. Everybody, if you're listening on the audio, check out Frankie's podcast network on YouTube so you can see this in the video. I
yes,
love these. Please
live
do show.
live and direct. Okay,
Right.
the business, my business started again with the gifting in real estate. So here's an example of a card. Make sure I can see it here.
Mhm.
And when we do a pop-up,
Oh, look at that.
oh,
That is
So
so
cute.
cool. That is
Yeah.
so unique.
now,
That is, like, I love that little there's even a car in there. Like the
yeah,
little pop-up
Yeah,
house. I
and the
mean,
little
that's
fish.
amazing detail.
yeah,
Yeah.
They have
windows,
little
garage.
bushes and windows. They got a garage with a car in it. Like that's pretty
Yeah.
rad.
It's like Dean, you took the idea of looking at a actual like model type of format of a house where, when you're doing real estate properties, they give you like a structure either online or now it's like AI generated where you can look at the format of the house, but you put it in physical form on an actual card so people get a real life experience in their own perception with an actual card to see the actual product. That's amazing. I think that idea is super cool and super personalized. My question for you, like you often say that your gifts keep people top of mind forever. What's the psychology behind that? Why do non-consumable gifts have such a powerful long-term effect? Because just seeing that created my personal long-term effect of like, oh, like if I ever
That's
become a real estate
amazing.
agent or broker, I would call Dean to help streamline some cards for our company.
Yeah.
Like that's really cool.
Right?
And if you think about it from the flip side, as a realtor, yes, as a consumer or customer of that realtor, if this
Mhm.
was a thank you card from them, it's not only something they keep, but a lot of people will display it. It's like art. And they
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and it brings up conversations, oh, that's cool, where did you get it from? And it doesn't have to, it's not like branded, it's not my logo or anything like that necessarily. It's thematic, it's emotional, and it's something that people talk about. And I'm all about combining the benefits of doing something from a altruistic standpoint, but also getting some business benefit out of it as well. So if you can have something that creates smiles and happiness and people are celebrating or building a relationship, and then you happen to also get more referrals and business from it, all the better.
Mhm.
So I don't even remember what the question was, but
Oh, I was gonna say, well, the psychology of it, like she's talking about, and I know you kind of talked to me about this before when we spoke, with, for example, the knives. Well, a knife is something people use in their household all the time. If it's got a company name on it, you see it, you remember them, so it keeps it memorable.
yeah,
And like, so with those cards, though, I do love that. And if you have more to show us for a hot second, I would love to see another one. But I love the idea of it being sort of an art piece, a conversation piece, it is something that if you have that, I would display something like that. If I had a thank you card that had a pop-up house on it or whatever the company was, like absolutely. That's
Yeah.
something that I'm sure people show off. So it continues to promote the business that you're helping to promote because it's interesting, and it continues to promote you as a business. I love it when there's wins all around. That's my favorite.
Collaboration. No, for sure.
Right.
So on a number of different levels, you talked about the psychology. Most gifts, 80 to 90% of all gifts today are consumable, and there's nothing wrong with any gift. Everybody loves getting a gift, right? But from a strategic return on investment standpoint, that's something that I try and drive home is, are you just throwing money away because you're supposed to? Or have you thought about it? Have you picked out what you're going to give, why you're going to give it, how you're going to give it? I was just talking to somebody else today about, we've actually got scripts that we've given people. Here's how you give our gift to your client. Here's what you say. Here's when you do it. And all those things most people never think about. And again, it's my world. So of course I think about it all the time, but believe it or not, gifts are not the top priority for most businesses all year round. And so it's something that has to be brought forward. But there's going to be more and more education and awareness in the business community. As far as some of the marketing stats that go with it, it used to be that, they said 8 to 10, 11, 12 touches to make an impact or to kind of connect with somebody. Recently, I've heard that whether you include social media or not, it's moved up towards 15 to 18 touches. There's so much stuff being thrown at us to stick, to have any kind of impression. You need to have repeated actions. And not just make a contact, but to truly remain top of mind. And I want to clarify this because I think a lot of businesses, a lot of people say, if they like me, if my clients like me, they liked my work, then I'm top of mind. And that's not the case. I'm in Canada, so I use this example. I say, if somebody asks me, what country do you live in? I don't have to stop and think and go, geez, you know what? I remember, but I don't have to do that. It's right there. It's there before the question is even answered. That is top of mind awareness. And the reason that's so important is when people are asking for referrals, and I'm guilty of this as anybody, if I say, hey, I need to get my house re-roofed or shingled, do you know anybody? Now, if I'm in the mall, we're talking to somebody, we're golfing, whatever else, you have about 3 to 5 seconds as a business to be remembered. That's it. So you need to be top of mind. It's if you can imagine somebody's, I need a good roofer. Do you know anybody? And you go, oh yeah, we had somebody a few years ago that did a great job. What was their name again? It was this company. At that point, they're like, oh, okay, no problem. We move on. And you don't go home, you don't find the card, do all the research, come back to the person and say, oh, this is who I was talking about. That just doesn't happen. So you need to be, oh, it's John's Roofing, right there on the spot. That's what it displays: conviction. It displays really a big understanding of how important and how successful that business was for you. That's what I want to help businesses do or achieve with their clientele. And to do that, you need to have about 37 touches a year. So if you think about that, that's almost one a week. And that's pretty hard to do without annoying somebody. I mean, if you send emails every week or pretty much anything, even with a multitude of different platforms, it's hard to stay in touch that frequently. And yet that's what we want to do. So that's where knives come in. It's a really good combination of Cutco is guaranteed forever. So you can't beat something that they will have forever for the rest of their life. And
Right.
it's also something in the kitchen that, well, we like to joke. Last time we did a survey, 100% of people surveyed don't rip their food apart with their hands anymore. They use knives, believe it or not. So,
Right.
Hey, we don't
Great.
do. Oh gosh, I didn't realize that. No, I'm kidding. I was gonna say I
We
still
have,
do it that way.
right. We have improved as a society.
yes,
Yeah, we've moved out of the caves and we have knives in the kitchen now. It's brilliant.
so it's a universal kind of gift. It's something that everybody uses and they use it every day. So it doesn't have to be blaring or in your face. But if you see that logo every single day, every other day, year in, year out, you can imagine that name is there. It's like a radio station. It's like something else, the sign right beside your house that you see every day. It becomes ingrained and top of mind. So that was the premise behind it, and it's very effective in achieving that. The pop-up cards do so in a similar but different way, and the whole objective again is to come back to having people remember you, and how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else to achieve that. So that's long-winded way of saying you got to be remembered by people.
Of course.
Well, yeah, that is such a big deal with, I mean, Alicia and I in business, we work with a lot of folks and we talk to a lot of folks about things like branding. And it's just with that. Show us this beautiful pink card I see you holding. What do you have for us? There is a car
Oh.
on here.
Here's number 2. So this is my race car.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's
That is
fun.
so cool.
I love that.
And
Oh my
again,
God,
Right.
like, I mean, that's something that I think I see like kids loving, right? Like that's something that you give to a client and it's, oh, got to show all your kids that. Look at it, it's a race car.
yeah, oh, exactly. And it's, I don't know, a lot of people, I mean, you've seen pop-up cards. You had them when you were a kid, everybody smiles. But the key difference is that we actually build the pop-up to spec. So I wouldn't say that a realtor would have each individual client's house done, but to have a house in general with the theme of real estate, we have people that do medical equipment. They have any kind of x-ray, sonar types of things, any kind of product launches, lots of architecture. And really, once you get freewheeling, there's no limit. This one I did up. I don't know if you've seen like the big car shows, big new launches. They've got like the little stage and the car rotates
Oh
around,
yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
that's my little stage there. And if you can imagine, I want this to be the thank you or the promotional piece for the new Porsche or the new
Oh,
Lamborghini,
yeah.
right?
There
I
you
This
go.
love it.
is built to,
Absolutely.
and a couple different things. Once you start dealing in those markets, rich people have seen a lot. Maybe they've seen everything. So how do you impress somebody, with a set of golf balls for buying their Porsche or whatever? It's hard to do. But if you had a thank you card that had their vehicle on it, they're going to be impressed. It's going to be cool. They're going to keep it, and they're going to tell their friends because it's so unique. It's all about, I'm I'm one step over you. I've got a card that you don't have, and so on. So
Well, and that's something that would easily be like put that right in the middle of the showroom, right? Like, hey, like it that would absolutely be something great to have just on the counter or next to the car in like the showroom. And again, there's the thank you card for you with your logo that is now being seen by everybody who's looking at a Porsche. Like, brilliant.
Right.
yeah, exactly. And not only that, it's kind of threefold. One, you get the information to the client, they keep it, or they get it.
Mhm.
Two, they keep it. Three, they display it. And I've rarely come across something where I can give my client something that they will actually actively promote me to their client with without me having to be involved. Right?
Hmm.
If Christmas time comes around and these cards come out and they're on the counter, they're displayed, and their customers come in, they don't typically go up to the wall and go, "Oh, look who you got Christmas cards from." But they will go up to the counter and say, "Oh, that's cute," or "That's cool. Who'd you get that from?" "Oh, we got it from our plumber or our realtor or whatever." And you're coming up in a conversation that you would never come up with otherwise. And
Mhm.
it's so unique in that capacity.
Mhm.
And I'll tease one of the other things here. I love this. So we do different sizes of cards. I've showed you the big and a medium one here. We also do what I call mini cards. So these are the size of a business card.
Hmm.
And
Oh, that's pretty
Oh, yeah,
rad.
it's like
Look
the
at
mini
that little
truck.
man.
That is
I love
amazing.
that.
so,
This is a fantastic marketing aspect. This is so cool.
yeah. And it's, you're reacting like that, but everybody does. And that's the
Yeah.
whole point is you give a card like that to somebody, they say that, wow, that's incredible. And then they keep the card and then they show other people because it's so cool. And
Mhm.
that's what you want, is to be remembered.
I mean,
Um,
it's almost like a toy. It really is. Like you open it brings out, I think, a little bit the inner child in people. That's kind of the feel that I get. And I think that is something, just the energy of that, the playfulness of what that pop-up card is, as well as being like a business or a marketing or a thank you, right? Like there's a playfulness to it that I think a lot of people are looking for. It's again a little bit back to kind of what you were saying about, when people are, especially in networking. I mean, Alicia and I absolutely deal with this. Like you can have handfuls of business cards if you go to some kind of networking event. That doesn't mean that you necessarily keep them or remember everybody, right?
Mhm.
But that kind of a business card that brings out the little kid in me that wants to play with it because it's cute and fun, that's something that not only is going to be memorable in the sense of being unique, but be memorable in the sense of like, that gave me a really good feeling. I really like that feeling I got seeing that. And
Yeah.
that kind of energy frequency and giving somebody that kind of playful and fun emotion, that really does also go towards like you were saying before, like who can I look for that I can trust? Well, you know what? I'm going to trust somebody who can be a little bit playful and fun because I
Right.
resonate with that. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, and also the bounce of what Haley said, it's about personalizing that type of relationship with the people. I like to call that strategy over swag. So in this digital marketing world, and people are selling different marketing campaigns, it's like with the physical gifts that you have in your wheelhouse, they're still able to outperform when it comes to the relationship building when they're receiving these types of cards and they're opening it and it's giving them that personal, playful type of relationship relating Dean to your brand and to the cards that they're receiving. So I love that you're using your personality as swag into the type of like personalized marketing project.
Okay, so I was going to save this one for later, but three things have
Oh,
come. So I've got
love
them
it.
right now. So you get a business card, you can't remember the person. You
Mhm.
maybe can't remember what they look like or what you were talking about. You want to pop out and stand out. Pop up cards, pop out, stand out, etc.
Right.
So I took this probably maybe too far. I don't know, to the next level though. And I'll show you some traditional cards before, but this is my
No such
business.
thing.
I
That
know,
doesn't.
right? Go to the next level always. Always be remembered.
You ready?
Don't tell me
Is
that is
that your
a card with
face?
a pop-up of you. That's a full-on you pop-up. That is so fun.
Oh, that's
Like
amazing.
they can't forget you what you look like or what your name. I mean, if you want to be top of mind memorable, that pop-up card right there will absolutely do it. I love that.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that was my, I don't know, I wouldn't say ego side of it, but I was like it or not, my daughter's like, that's freaky, Dad. Don't do that. And I was like, you know what? In my business, everybody will remember it. So good, bad, or otherwise, it gets the point across. And
Right.
most people love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's so fun. And you know what? Listen, if some people look at it though and do say like, "Oh, that's weird or creepy," guess what? They're going to remember it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the point. Um, so yeah, the card side of it, we're doing this. They're actually, it's you can't really see it on the screen, but they're laser cut and they're tangible. They're heavy paper. They're called kirigami, which is a Vietnamese art form. It's like origami except in cards. And these are actually manufactured. You were asking about how they're produced. I have no idea how they're produced. There's actually education, there's training for it. Fortunately, I send it away, they do it, and it comes back perfect. But it's all manufactured in Vietnam and then shipped anywhere in the world. So it's nice to support those people and some of the cultural things there. And yeah, how it works. I'm an engineer, so I look at it and go, oh yeah, I get the angles and stuff. But when you try and actually make it work yourself, it is a lot harder than it seems. So
Right.
yeah, I
What
don't.
what did you say again? Can you say what it's called again in Vietnam?
It's called kirigami.
Origami?
Kirigami.
Ki.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
that's
so cool.
Yeah, and it's an ancient art form there. Like when I started looking up pop-up cards and stuff, you don't see much of it. None of it custom built, but there's three companies that pop up um, that are based in Vietnam, and very rarely have I done a wide search on a product in general and had Vietnam being the top place, the top few companies that are doing it. So it's kind of neat on that side of it. And
Yeah,
Well, the-
there's like a sort of cultural story built into like where the idea comes from. Like there's a history to it. That just like
Mhm.
that's a whole other layer of fun to it in my mind.
Yeah, I love the innovation behind that idea of the actual pop-up cards and then the creation of it and the mass production of the innovation behind the whole idea. I think that's fascinating. Question for you, Dean. So, what's the most meaningful gifts you ever received personally, either through your current business or people that you're currently doing business with?
um, one of the, I don't know if it directly ties in because of my relationship with Cutco, but I
Mhm,
got the book actually right there, Giftology, which is
mhm,
by John Ruhlin. It's a great book, short, kind of quick read, but it just epitomizes the essence of gifting, the relationship building stuff. So getting that was really cool for me, and much like I say to other people, whether it be employees, whether it be promotions, whether it be thank yous, as much as money seems to be the ideal gift, if I'm receiving something, money's awesome because every single penny will be spent and I will make sure I use it, but I will not remember a thing. So,
mhm,
from a business standpoint, is that really the best way to go? No. And I would say the trend tends to be more personalized for sure. Doesn't necessarily have to be branded, but geared and thought put into it towards the person receiving it, and experiential. So, in a book, you read it, you get some feedback from it. It could be a trip, it could be something unique from a conversation, but those tend to have the biggest impact for me, but also I think for a lot of people. And it doesn't have to be expensive, which is something a lot of people get hung up on, is that, well, I can't afford to do this. Well, the old $2 handwritten card, now obviously I have a bias towards other cards, but a big handwritten card sent out, it has a huge impact these days. And it does not take much, doesn't cost much. There's no excuse not to be doing things like that. And
mhm.
the effect of them. So I would say those are the things that kind of resonate with me. How about yourselves? What have you guys done that's
Well,
cool?
I was going to say, do you want to know what this is? I love that you asked that question, Alicia, because this is actually a question I like to ask people just
Mhm.
personally in my personal life. So let's bring it into the podcast for some playful fun. Because I
Yeah.
also like to be able to show people's personality and who they are. So I have to ask you, and we can all go ahead and answer. What was one of your favorite gifts you ever got as a kid, as long as we're being playful? Like when you were a kid, what was one of your favorite gifts? Alicia, you too. What do you got? I'll tell
Um,
you guys right now, rollerblades. I got some awesome
yes.
rollerblades. I was
Yes.
out there falling down and getting scraped knees, but loving it for just an entire summer.
Yes, that's what Haley and I have in common. We were definitely outside playful kids before iPads were invented. Um,
Yeah.
my favorite my favorite gifts as a kid were just the simple ones, like a CD player from my parents for Christmas, just a regular CD player that you can take outside and listen to music. Or when we had the scooters compared to the rollerblading, the scooter got me from my house to my neighbor's house in a couple of seconds. We were scootering all
Mhm.
across our cul-de-sac. And then lo and behold, I was a big candy fanatic when I was younger. So if we used to have like those like bookstore like knickknacks, like the erasers and
The
all those
Scholastic
things.
Fairs, yes,
Like,
I
all of the
love
different
those.
knickknacks, like, I was so excited for the bookstore event, so, my favorite gifts I would receive, like, we would do, like, gifts exchanges at the bookstore, so we would do, like, ring pops. So I would get, like, the blue, the purple, the pink, but, like, be walking around class with all the ring pops on my hands.
Oh, I love
This
it.
was, like,
That's
jewelry and some
adorable.
candy, right? And
It's
the different
jewelry
colors
and
of
candy.
yeah, so just soaking in, the childhood that we were blessed with to come up in an age, like, with technology, but also having those memorable moments of what those gifts, made us feel during that time in need when we were young, we were figuring ourselves out. As long as I had my CD player, my scooter, and some candy, life was great.
What else could you need? I love that. Oh,
Right?
so good. Dean, how about you? I mean, CD player, scooter, and candy. I don't know how you can top that, but please do try.
Well, I think I might predate myself here because I don't even know if there were scooters. There definitely was candy, but for along that line, the old red wagon with the old hard wheels that you steer.
Yeah.
Right?
The radial flyer wagon.
Exactly.
Hmm.
That
Yes.
great fun as a kid, incredibly dangerous with the stuff we were doing nowadays. But
The things that kids would not be allowed to do anymore,
Right.
right?
you would be fined as a parent for allowing that or something.
Okay, Dean, just again, because we like to be a little bit playful, tell me that you did get in that radio flyer and sit with the steery thing at the top of a hill and like just ride down a hill and try to steer yourself down the hill, right?
Absolutely. I don't know if you could have one and not do that.
I
I'm
don't think you could.
I'm pretty sure that I rolled it at least a couple times as well.
Oh,
And
yeah, you dump yourself out of there onto the pavement just all the time.
yeah, no, I think about the engineering side of it, and I'm like, as a vehicle, the way this is being steered, this is horrible. But as a kid, it's like, oh, that's awesome. But
It's
my
awesome. It's
All
so
right.
cool.
I think I liked I thought of this with the ring pops. It's like there's something you can actually have your cake and eat it too. That's,
Right.
who
You
knew?
get to be bejeweled and it's delicious.
Yes.
Right? We were very, as a child growing up, we were very creative and open-minded, and the imagination was just out there when we were growing up, right? We're in different age groups currently now, but I feel like when you're a child growing up with technology or without technology, you're able to open up the mindset and expand on the imagination of what these gifts do for you while you're having your upbringing, and taking that concept of the ring pops of like, this is life. This is all I need, and my scooter, and my red wagon with my friends, and going down a driveway that's very dangerous. But hey, at least we're still alive and we survived all that.
So
We survived all that and we had a good time.
Yeah,
I,
right. And of
I have
course,
to
so
clarify.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dean.
No, we're not talking about going down a driveway. We're talking about going down like a couple of blocks on a hill, like
Oh, okay.
real,
So
real.
you're like a real
Oh yeah.
daredevil. I love that.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
happy
We
you're here.
like y'all, we would go down a hill and ride like into the water of the lake on ours because it was a big hill that went right into the lake and like, yep,
Hmm.
that was what we were doing. Nobody drowned, we're
Hmm.
fine.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one gift that when I was a kid, and even still now, I like is Lego. I
Hmm.
Oh,
I'm actually kind of sad nowadays because the Lego is all formed and it looks cool when it's put together. But back in the day when it was, you had your certain shapes, but you can make all kinds of different things, and there wasn't a right or wrong way to do it.
mhm.
I loved it. I loved building it. I loved making my own stuff, redoing it later. And even to this day, I built stuff with my kids and I love it there too. So that was, I think, one of the big successful gifts throughout all of my childhood, right up until teenager.
Hmm.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
the Legos thing, you're an engineer, so that totally fits. And even your pop-up cards there's something of the kind of putting things together, right? Like that fits in. I do. So in the realm of playful, like things from childhood, talk to me a little bit about bringing sort of that energy into what you do. I mean, because this is something that Alicia and I talk to everybody about, that you got to be passionate about what you do for it to be meaningful to you and
Yeah.
to whoever you're working with, right? Because if you don't love what you do, it's going to come across in your work.
Oh,
So, and I know, look, it looks to me like you're already holding some more fun to show us, but talk to us about the playfulness and how it helps you out in what you do.
well, I have a very dry sense of humor, which is lost, unfortunately, on a lot of people and sometimes gets me in trouble. But yes, I was going to show you this. This is the Cutco, the kind of branded.
Oh,
But
Oh, it's so
beautiful.
beautiful, right?
in particular, this is the fun part. So this is a knife. It's got an actual blade. It's a spatula spreader. But this is what I tell people to engrave on it. I don't know if, let's see here.
Thanks for
Thanks for
spreading the
spreading the
word.
word. Yes.
Oh,
And
because it's a spatula spreader. You're
yeah,
so
for
cute.
the butter
I love it. Look,
or for some cheese.
Yep.
yeah, listen, the dad humor will never fail to amuse me. I love it. That's fabulous. Dad humor for the win all day, every day.
There you go.
Hmm.
I'm fortunately I'm a good representative of the dad joke, bad joke era.
Dad joke,
Right.
I love it. So how do you keep incorporated that sort of playful energy? I mean, obviously what you do is you do get to have a lot of like playtime and it is something entertaining. You've got some really cool products to play with.
Yeah.
But when you're doing all the networking things, right, you're not necessarily always playing with the products. So like how do you, even through Zoom, right? Because this is something that when you're doing global business and you're in those kind of meetings, they can get very sort of dry. They can sort of be, it can become very sort of like corporate bogged down. You can feel very sort of de-energized by it. But like with what you do, obviously it's fun. How do you kind of keep infusing that into the networking of the sort of new age?
It it's unfair because it's so easy to infuse that, because literally what you were saying is I do just play with stuff. I mean, that is my whole job, is showing people how cool it is to play with this stuff that's really cool. Um,
Mhm.
so there's nobody else in North America that will build the pop-ups. Like, we are literally the only company that does it. So it's not like I have to sell what we do as far as a concept. It's pretty straightforward, but nobody else does it. So I literally do go to networking meetings, and people are doing their pitches, their elevator thing, what we do and stuff, and I just show them. I said, I do pop-up cards. It's pretty straightforward. I do branded knives, and it's different enough that people go, really? How does that work? Or, what? Here's another one, a little card for a travel agent.
It's an airplane. I love
Love
that.
it.
And we're
Or,
manifesting travel for ourselves, so you're also helping us. I love that.
Mhm.
Oh, we got a cruise ship. Ooh, hello. Again, there is so much. Can you just hold that up again for a second and like that
Right.
is such an
look at the
because
detail.
look at I was gonna
The
say, look at the
detail,
detail and how
the
many tiny
colors.
little windows are cut in there. That is amazing. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
Mhm.
and this too, this, I don't know if you can see here, but that is not a sticker. That's not printed. Those are actual windows into the, like,
yeah, that
those
are
are,
cut.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Wow.
it's amazing. Like that kind of intricate detail. It's so cool. And in such a tiny little card. That's amazing. Oh, what do we have here? Lady Liberty.
Lady Liberty.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
hollow Statue of Liberty and the New York skyline. Y'all, if you are listening to this on the Spotify, please get on the YouTube to see it. And
Please
and
come
Can't
check it
focus.
out.
and
It's
we just
intricacy.
oh, Ghostbusters is one of my favorites, and so that's what I just thought of just now is Ghostbusters. Looking at that, I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how do I keep the fun there? Honestly, it's just there. It's part of what I do, which is the great thing. And the reason I do, again, a lot of networking is because nobody else knows about it. If I had competition, more people would know, but having no competition means no one knows. So until I show them, I just got to get out there and spread the word, so to speak. Make people.
Of
Well, we're here
course.
to help you spread the word, and I tell you, I think you could monetize an Instagram so fast just having some little videos, spinning those little cards and showing people just boop, open them up, beautiful. Like, go rock
Yeah.
and ride with that. I think that's one of those like oddly satisfying things too, right? To just see
Right.
that pop up come up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
right. There's definitely a way to open up the monetization for this, especially if you're hitting markets like TikTok and Facebook, where people are doom scrolling, but coming across something like this that's very personal but fun and active, and it's a different way of looking at business and business cards and creating that personalization. We would love to help you, Dean, as far as getting
Yeah.
your brand and your business out there, because there's a lot of value here, especially in the personalization, and that's what we got to come back to, is that human interaction, and keeping that in the system here, because that's what it's all about, right? Is creating that remembering, or that remembrance, with like the pop-up cards of with who Dean is, and the structure that you have in the different industries with like real estate and technology. My question for you to follow off on that is like, where do you see the future of relationship marketing going, especially in industries like you mentioned in real estate, or even in the technology world?
Um, well, I think we're moving down that path, and it'll continue to be so.
Mhm.
There's a divide that's growing ever more so. On one hand, you're reverting back to physical, in-person relationship based, and the other hand, you're looking at AI driven, automated, the extreme opposite end of the scale. So I think there's a place for both. I'm a techie, I'm a geek. I like, the automation side of it, programming and that kind of thing. So don't get me wrong, but there's only so far that can take you. And there's certain situations that it's not enough. It never will be. And so that's where the more relationship based marketing goes. I think I have a hard time thinking of a business that can't benefit from showing appreciation, from saying thank you, and doing it in a way that's different that people will remember. And so, yeah, I think they're kind of dovetailed in a way. And we're essentially, there's a mounting wave or momentum of interest in that kind of marketing now as well. So I like to think I'm ahead of the curve, just kind of surfing, waiting
Of
for the
course.
bigger things to come by.
You're right.
And
Oh,
I
thank you
think
for
that's
sharing.
brilliant. And yeah, and that's, no, that is a great question. And it is a great point, Alicia and Dean, that you both bring up and make
Mhm.
not just the need to keep that personalization in there, but also to keep again, the playful, the fun, that human energy, the passion that brought you to what you're doing, right? Because I think in the digital world, sometimes with so much noise going on, it's easy to, like Alicia said, just doom scroll, just pass by things. And when you come
Right.
across something that has that energy of playfulness and an energy of like saying thank you and having that gratitude in it. And that's something that, obviously it's a big topic for a lot of people, the idea of gratitude and thankfulness. And here you are in the business of making that playful instead of obligatory. And I think that's a really big energy to be putting out into the world that is really awesome. So yay you.
yeah, no, it's all, I have to show you something. Hold on one sec.
Show us
Oh,
show
you
us
get
one more.
more.
I know. I feel like we just get a like showcase of toys. I feel very
Yes.
treated to like it's like we're getting the best demo going on.
You would not want to see my office per se, because other than the part I keep clean, I have tables. It's like a big workshop for elves or
Oh,
something.
I love that. Oh,
So
it's purple. I love purple. Here we go.
so I'm going to do a play on words here. I was thinking,
That's a full-on pop-up brain right there.
Right. And definitely thinking very clearly. I love it.
I was thinking that not everything, whew, oh no, not everything in this world is about money.
Oh, wow, look at that. I love it. You could totally do full-on little mini stories on Instagram, just
Mhm.
Oh
with
yeah,
your little pop-up cards. That's amazing. That's so
it's
cute.
it's coming. I'm not a big social media person, but it is something that resonates with me, having some fun and combining it with the business. And like you said, it's some of the projects I have. You talked about kids and stuff. Well, if you
Yeah.
think about a wedding, right? The big weddings, the cakes, the dresses, and everything.
Mhm.
Imagine your invitation being you popping up like in
Pop-up.
the room, right?
Yeah.
That would be wild rad. And who would not keep that wedding invitation? I mean,
Right.
amazing.
Thank yous. And this is one of my first things. I love doing this. This is a sword, by the way. That's a cool gift and a cool reward, I guess, for being in a knife company. But these are Oscars, not real ones, but they're Oscars.
Mhm.
And tell me your opinion on this. But movie stars, people that have everything, it's hard to impress them. So when you go to the Oscars, you watch it, they have the list of the people, the contenders, and the winner is, and they open the envelope and write and announce them. Can you imagine if that envelope, that winner, opened up and an Oscar popped up?
That would be rad.
Oh,
Like it would be fun
wow.
if you would have them all made to be whoever won. Like you had,
Yeah,
Mhm.
like you could have, and like you could have their character pop up and some of the movie elements that they were in or whatever it was. That would be brilliant. Who do we talk to for that? Alicia and I will
Right.
totally.
Let's
That,
let's let
absolutely.
let's hit up the Oscar people, PR people, because that's an amazing concept. Is like the person that wins, of course, wins the Oscar, but they can come like they can bring home the Oscar and the pop-up card of themselves with the Oscar in hand or however they see fit.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
this
going to
idea.
tell you, I love this idea. And if it was me getting an Oscar, I'd probably be happier about the card that had like me with what the
Right.
movie set in there. I'd be like,
Exactly.
this is way cooler than that statue. I'm gonna put this on my on the
Right.
mantle in my house. That's cool.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you know a famous person, or if you thought of it, and you saw them win this on TV, you've seen the awards, I would suspect that when they get approached, so, oh, you won the Oscar, can I see the card? That would be the
Yeah.
question you're getting, right? That should
Yeah,
be a-
Can
right.
we see the card?
Yeah.
That would absolutely be like a whole new like end segment as they're leaving the red carpet. You show all the cards that you got. Like,
Hmm.
Well, and
I
then
love this. This is brilliant. Who do we need to talk to? Like, audience, get up in the comments and send the Oscar people to Dean and let Alicia and Haley help out with it because we just want to see the awesomeness that you create so we can gush all over it. Like, I love it.
Yes, I love that.
well,
Oh, this was such
Oscar,
a nice experience. It's definitely really like diving into the creative element of the cards and the pop-up and the strategy of this. Thank you, Dean, so much.
oh, it's been my pleasure. And for you guys, this is one that I've had a lot of requests for actually. What would be the perfect thank you for being on the show podcast thank you card? Picture,
Ooh,
open up, and your old 1950s or 60s microphone, right?
yeah, like the very sort of
Yeah.
like jazz singer kind of. Oh, I love that. Yes, oh, that's a brilliant idea. I love it.
Yes,
Beautiful.
that can be part of Frankie's podcast network as far
Yeah,
as what
right.
we covered.
I'm
Yes.
in my mind. I'm thinking of so
Yeah.
like I'm just thinking of because if you can see my logo up in the corner there with my Frankie's Podcast Network, like a little fairy holding that microphone, right? Like
Hmm.
that would be
Any,
totally on brand.
yeah.
I
Well,
love it, Dean. We may have to chat about that. That's so rad.
Hmm.
two other things I'm going to mention because I like the philanthropic side of things. We do this for charities, for fundraisers. If you think about it, black tie dinners, thank yous, invitations, they're incredible for getting people out. And they're also for universities, alumni, anything like that. Again, these are people that are spending tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. They've seen it all. But
Hmm.
my university, when I get the little letter and I know there's stuff in it and it's like, hey, give us some more money, I don't even open them anymore. But if
Hmm.
you imagine if you got a thank you card with your own alma mater, your own building as,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and then one step further, every year you get a different card with a different building. My vision is to have somebody someday building their entire university with pop-up cards, like recreating it.
I'm thinking of
Yeah.
Beetlejuice with the town that he built in Beetlejuice, the original
Yes.
one, right? Like you could
Uh-huh.
build a whole town of it. Like you could build a mini golf course for the mini golf
Hmm.
course that is, I mean, there's so many different fun things you could do. Dean, I think we're gonna have you like come back sometime to just do
Yes, please.
some of our own kind of Tim Burton-esque animation with some pop-up cards. I don't know how we're gonna work that out. I've got the sci-fi stories in my pocket that I can help you with. Let's make some magic.
Okay,
Yeah, man.
I have to do one more thing here now. You brought it up.
Okay.
I've got to show you. Am
Oh,
I allowed,
we got one more before we get to let Dean go, and I can't wait to see it. What do you got?
can I share screen? Am I able to do
I
that
bet,
on?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
He's gonna have something to show us. I love this.
present.
This has been such a great show and tell episode. I feel like I need more show and tell episodes. I love it when I get
Yes.
to see fun things.
Okay, and here you go. It just so happens, tell me when you can see it.
Here we go. We'll share with the audience. Oh my, what? And
Card
is that
details.
is that Vincent Price and Tim Burton sitting in that is a card, a pop-up
Yes,
card of what?
this is
What?
the Tim Burton pop-up card. And if you look here,
That's incredible. Again, people, you need to be
Wow.
watching the YouTube version of this. I mean, I so appreciate all the Spotify listeners and things, but you have got to see this. That is amazing. I love the checkerboard flooring that you have that is on there.
Yes.
I love that Tim Burton
So
is
on
sitting with Vincent
brand.
Price.
Perfect.
So on brand. I love that. Dean Stanzel, it has been such a just a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thank you for coming on here and sharing and just being so much fun. I do want to
Yeah.
just give you the opportunity. Is there anything you want to direct people to? We're going to have all those links for you in the description for top of mind gifts and strategic 3D cards. But is there anything else in particular coming up or that you want to direct people to go check out?
no, I answer my phone. I respond to my email. If you want to reach out, I'm happy to chat. I know lots of people and I like helping out that way. So if the information's in the chat, I don't need to say it here, and love to connect with anybody.
I love it. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dean.
and thank
Great.
you everyone for listening. And we will see you on another episode of Frankie's Open Mic very soon. Dean, I hope to have you back again soon too. Thank you very much, good friend.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Dean. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Got you speechless.
Yes.
That's right, because you're just so many good things. Thanks
Right?
so much, Dean. This has really been great.
Thank you. See you.